Looks yummy, isn't it? Your images are gonna look the same because today we'll be using a simple but amazing tool in Photoshop and take up this image and make it pop like this. Hello everyone, welcome back to Dexplorion. It's Didi again, and this channel is all about designing in Photoshop and sharing the process with you. And in the process, we'll discuss various tools, techniques and tips and tricks which can help you improve your workflow and level up your graphic design game. Today we will be creating an effect which is called pop art effect. Actually there are many versions of pop art. This is just one of them and it's very easy to create. You just have to use one tool and few additional effects to create this. The steps are here along with their timestamps in case you want to jump to a specific step. And without any further delay, let's get going. My canvas is ready. If you are following this channel for quite some time, then you would know I design posters, and that's why I usually choose A3 or A4 size canvas. You are free to choose any canvas size you want. Just keep an eye on the dimensions of the image while designing on the canvas size. And now we will bring our image onto the canvas and remove its background. For the selection of the subject, I have used the quick selection tool. You can choose any selection tool depending on the image you are using. And if you want to know more about selection tools in Photoshop, then I have a full playlist on the process of background removal using different selection tools. Those videos are pretty detailed, and I have also tried to discuss where and why you should use a particular selection tool. If you are interested, you can find those videos by clicking on the I button above, and I'll also provide the link of the playlist in the description below. And this is our subject. I have also renamed the layer as subject, and now we have to make 2 more copies of the subject. And how do we do that? That's right, we'll press Ctrl or Command J twice. We'll work on the topmost subject layer first, so we'll turn off the visibility of all other layers except this layer. We can turn them off one by one, or you can do this trick. Hold the Alt or Option key and click on the eye-like icon of the layer you want to keep, and boom, all other layers' visibility is turned off. And now that I have shown you a way of saving a little time, you can use this time to click on the like button just down there. We'll convert our subject to black and white. There are many ways of doing it in Photoshop. The technique we are going to use today is by applying an adjustment layer, and that will be gradient map. See, our subject has turned black and white just by adding the gradient map. But we are not going to stop here. We'll make it a little more dramatic, and for that we will click here to open the gradient editor. And now grab the handle on the left side and bring it towards the right to make the shadows darker. And with this handle on the right, we'll bring it towards the left to make the highlights even brighter. And with this diamond-like handle, we can adjust the midtones. Play with them and adjust your image to make it the way you like it. I think I am done, and I'll hit OK. We have to clip it to our subject layer, otherwise it will affect all the layers below it, and we don't want that. We'll hold the Alt or Option key and take the cursor in between these 2 layers, and when the cursor turns to something like this, just click once to clip it so that it affects this layer only. We'll select both these layers by holding the Shift key and convert them to Smart Object. And why do we do that? I think you know the answer. You can comment down below and let others know the advantages of doing that. We'll rename this layer as Subject Black and White and work on the next subject layer. Again, hold the Alt or Option key and click on the empty box here to turn on the visibility of this layer only, and again add the gradient map to it. But this time we are not going to keep it black and white, so we'll click once on the left handle to select it, and then click here to open the color picker and select some different color. Since we are creating a pop art, I will be choosing a bright and vibrant shade of maybe pink. You can choose whatever color you like. Keep the rest as it is, and now we'll do the adjustments just as we did earlier. We'll repeat the same process. And now it's the turn of the third subject layer. For this layer, I'll choose a shade of blue. This is only one way of using the gradient map, and there are many more applications of this tool which I'll be covering in my future videos. And if you are interested in them and similar contents like this, then you have to stay with me. And how can you do that? It's simple, just subscribe to the channel. Now we'll turn back on the visibility of all the layers, and for that we'll use the same trick. Hold the Alt or Option key and click on the eye icon here, and boom again. We'll select the subject pink layer, press Ctrl or Command T to activate the transform tool and drag this circle to the corner and put it on the handle here. This will keep our subject anchored to this point, and then when we hold the Alt or Option key and drag this handle, we can resize like this. We'll do the same with the subject blue layer, but in the opposite direction and make it a little bigger than the pink layer. We'll then hold the shift key and drag the layers to the left. Why shift key? So that while we drag, it will move along a straight line. I'll do the same with the pink layer also. We'll then add a solid color adjustment layer, change its color to bright yellow, drag it to the bottom, and it will serve as our background. We have one more thing to do with the subject, so we'll select the subject pink layer and click here to add a new layer above it. Then we'll activate the selection of the subject black and white layer. How? Just by holding the Ctrl or Command key and clicking on the icon of the layer. Make sure the new layer is selected. We'll take the brush tool, right click anywhere on the canvas to open the brush settings and select a custom halftone brush. And by the way, you can get the download links of all the resources I'm using today, like the images, the custom brush and the fonts in the description. We'll resize the brush by pressing the left and right square bracket keys and just click once. Has anything changed? Yes, but we can't see it now. We'll go back to the move tool, then press Ctrl or Command D to deactivate the selection, and then hold the Alt or Option key and drag one of these handles to resize the new layer. I will position it like this. It seems a little too prominent to me, so I'll change its opacity. You can do it by dragging it like this, but we can do it in a better and faster way. Make sure the layer is selected. You can now use any number from 1 to 0 on your keyboard to set the opacity of that layer. For example, to set the opacity to 50%, I will press 5, likewise 8 for 80%, and if you press 0, it will be 100%. I think you got the idea. I'll set it to 80%. I'll rename this layer as halftone and then select all these layers and press Ctrl or Command G to group them together and rename it as subject composite. Now, if you select the group, you can move and resize them together. We are done with the subject and now we'll move on to the next step where we'll be adding some text to complete the poster. For that, we'll select the color fill layer because we want to add the text above this layer and click on the text tool here and click anywhere on the canvas to add the text. I'll just type one letter now, change its color to white and select a font called T, which I have downloaded from the website fonttest.com. Resize it and position it like this. For the time being, let's turn off the visibility of the subject group. We have to make some duplicate copies of the text. For that, we'll hold the Alt or Option key and when the cursor changes like this, just click and drag and then double click to edit it. We're gonna do some more like this. We'll turn back on the visibility of the subject composite group and then select the End text layer and double click here on the blank space to open the layer style dialog box and give it an effect. We'll click on strokes here and bring down the fill opacity. You can adjust the size of the stroke. In the position, you have three options here. I will keep it centered and then adjust the size, and without changing anything else, I'll hit OK. Now I'll grab the end layer and drag it and put it just above our subject group. If you want, you can group the other text layers together. We have to convert the end layer at the top into a smart object and then add a layer mask to it. Then take the brush tool again, select the soft round brush and keeping the foreground color black, we'll paint on this part of the text like this. And lastly, we're gonna add a small quote here. For this, I'm going to use a font called Variant Script. You can use any cursive font you want. Change its color and skew it by holding the Ctrl or Command key and dragging by one of these handles. And lastly, add a drop shadow to it. And we are done with the poster for today. Hope you enjoyed the process and the poster as well. There are numerous other effects which you can create in Photoshop using different tools and techniques, and in our next video we'll be creating I haven't decided on that, so let it be a surprise. Until then, if you want, you can learn creating a cartoon effect watching this video.